I wasn't initially an agency person. I was working in-house, like most people. I remember the first client that I got was in 2013. But the problem was I couldn't really scale the agency. So I started working in-house in different companies.
What do you think about the concept of John Muller or other search blogs? Is there is anything which would be helpful for anybody?
You gotta be open-minded about they're not allowed to share any useful information.
Today, I'm admired to introduce you with my special guest, Erfan Azimi, the hero behind API League. Brother, hi, how are you?
Doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. Okay, brother, then we start with the first question. How did you scale your SEO agency in the early days and what actually made the biggest difference?
Right. I wasn't initially an agency person. I was working in-house, like most people. I remember the first client that I got was in 2013. But the problem was I couldn't really scale the agency. So I started working in-house in different companies. It was not until 2019 that actually I successfully opened my little agency. At the time, it was called Visibility Flare. And again, it was better success compared to what I initially did years ago. But having some amount of experience working previously in-house actually helped me to build more foundation with regards to the sales and the SOPs in order to be able to leverage them correctly. What people actually don't realize, agency world is a tough and very stressful, high competition niche. And in order to be able to be successful, you need to have a good referral engine that you're well connected to different entities and different markets. You got to be the guy, the biggest guy, which means the hierarchy of the essentially owning an agency means the hierarchy is limited to certain big companies. One thing that actually helped me quite a bit was the fact that my boss, that then I was actually working in-house, I was working for an agency. So I was learning the tricks and techniques that I was able to leverage to potentially boost my own agency as well. The boss actually I had was one of the former head of SEOs at Expedia, which amazing guy, Vlad, his name was. And it actually quite helped me in order to build the foundations, what I needed in order to build essentially a more successful agency. So I'm going to say the most important things that I actually found to be the case are going to be the connections that you have, the relationships that you make in real life, and the networks that you have. And it's quite confusing for a lot of people might think, hey, in order to get clients, I do need to perhaps run a Google Ads campaign or I need to be a social media influencer. Not really. If you actually look at the most profitable agencies in the world, in marketing world, they don't have a public figure. Most of them, they're very well connected to big entities, and they only do some amount of marketing, but it's mostly the network effect that comes from it and the networking that they do, the contracts that they have with different governments and private equity firms that actually will get them their clients.
Okay, brother, the second question is, what mistake did you make while growing the agency and you had avoid if you were starting again?
Good question. I would it would be more than one mistake. I'll probably be able to write a book about my mistakes that I've done. And probably the biggest thing that I would have done was perhaps learn other channels which are useful on top of SEO, because the way it works in the SEO world, people are very tribal to the idea of SEO being the dominating source of traffic. And then we've actually observed the intensity of the impact and the fear of the AI overviews that actually caused on people. And he essentially came back to the only thing was we really didn't have much techniques to optimize for overall organic marketing, search everywhere optimization, organic marketing in general. So let's say Reddit, Bing, AI platforms, but we had an SEO, but other channels we really didn't, we as an industry really didn't have a channel for those particular websites. I think what I would have done was essentially to niche down to be specific towards let's call them mini niches that are not Google search, but they're able to actually send traffic.
Brother, are you scaling your agency, or you are happy with it now?
I'm super happy with the actual size of the agency. No plan to scale it up.
No plan to scale it up. But why, brother?
Exactly. We actually worked. I worked with a bigger agency, and it becomes chaotic after there are certain, let's say, number of clients and employees. It will be chaotic, and either it's going to be an exit that will be needed at some point, meaning I just sell the company to somewhere else, someone else, or hire managers to essentially to manage the company. But the problem is, I don't know much anything else rather than SEO. It's essentially what I've been doing since I was a kid. And it's going to be a rough transition if I want to handle all my responsibilities for managers, because I've got nothing to do. So as a result of it, as long as I'm able to keep the agency lean and focus on the client's growth and results, not so much, let's say, the mindset that they all fall into. Sometimes they chase money, then I'll be satisfied, essentially. Yeah.
How do you decide which SEO ideas or signals are worth trusting and which one to ignore?
Pretty much the default answer would be ignore all unless proven otherwise. In the opposite way, you can say always be open-minded. The truth is out there, like UFOs. Maybe there are aliens that are already here on Earth, and which also comes back to the fact that Google search as an entity is so close-guarded with regards to the information that they share. The Google leak has actually well proved the fact that Google actually lied about the search algo. I'm not going to get into the reason why they did that, and I'm essentially not don't have the authority to be able to do that. But if I want to actually highlight what I believe to be the most, like, let's say, important signals, it's going to be the engagements and the AI training data, the spam factors involved, links to some extent as well, not to the extent that they used to be impacting SEO, like, let's say, until a helpful content update. And but be cautious. There not so much good information out there. So I always recommend to people, be careful about the information you get, because there is also a concept of negative training, that you get wrong information and you try to get a belief about certain logic or certain information that is delusional or simply doesn't work. So be cautious, but also be open-minded to do an experiment, test, and to go for it.
Okay, brother, you think about it. For each country, there is a different signals for ranking algorithms, and different country,
for different countries. In some ways, we can say that, yes. There are some cases that for certain queries, essentially Google will manually check those queries, or they have a way to cluster the queries at larger scale, similar to the benchmarks that they have. And similar, if it's a medical updates, the medical queries are impacted, insurance, and others. So they have essentially a way to cluster that, and they do that. And I've seen the case that manually search results has been modified by Google engineers, not in a static way that they're pushing one side down, but they adjust the signals and the weight of each factor for a certain query, that a certain factor weights this amount and certain factor weights this amount for just the case of if the search result has been spammed in this by these factors, then they would essentially reduce the impact of the common spam for that search results. There's also the possibility that essentially the nav boosts and interaction systems in place. So if I'm sure if I do a search for Burger King, you would get much different results than what I would from my location. So there are certain signals that are collected as a result of the geolocation, and they're very well connected to the engagement signals as well and the intent of the search queries. So from both sides, Google does, they tend to essentially change the weights of certain, let's say, queries that they fear for those queries in terms of how it's being spammed, or sensitive queries that it really makes the ranking factors different. in certain geos or for certain problematic queries. Or yeah, it's actually could be as natural as, hey, the engagement in this country or the behavior is different. Therefore, the search results will be different as well.
Sometimes I'm just thinking about that. Some queries element for different for you, some query element different for me. I'm just thinking about it. Google make it look like a group of 20 to 30 year age, a group of this country, a group of this temperature. After following this same thing, I just get exact the thing in the Google pattern. The written that they are make a group of them. For a group of people, this search. For a group of people, this search. It's changing properly. But in the following something, I'm just following John Mueller, the greatest name John Mueller. He said everything which are not working properly. What do you think about the concept of John Mueller or other search blogs? Is there anything which would be helpful for anybody?
Well, for sure. Listen, as much as we've seen we as SEOs, we tend to dislike these folks. We gotta be open-minded about they're not allowed to share any useful information that helps potentially bad players to put out really dangerous content on the web. I'm not talking about SEO stuff or blog posts or little affiliate sites here. I'm talking about dangerous manipulations that I've actually have encountered that could really be dangerous for the public. And as you can imagine, some of those bad players are listening to the information that Google does put out. But at the same time, I do not think for 1 second how the search relations team at Google was claiming, and essentially they lied about signals. I don't think if that was the appropriate thing to do, to essentially lie to the public about, hey, we don't really use the factor, but it turns out they actually use that factor. But at the same time, for any technical questions, let's say how to get a website crawled or indexed, they're a good source. But to rank higher in Google, I'm not sure about that.
Next question. Okay. Where do you honestly see SEO heading by 2030?
Oh gosh, I wish I knew. I think we already have seen it. Even before AI overviews, the impact of SEO, the quality and quantity of the search traffic has essentially decreased significantly since the early days. There's less CTR, more ads on top of the search results. And beforehand, we had the feature of the snippets, and now we have AI overviews on top of the search results. And more people are nowadays using GPTs and chat GPTs to essentially get answers to the question. So that essentially opens up new channels and new things to optimize for. And you got to be very open-minded about essentially working in a different field. Similar, but slightly different. And on top of it, do not get, let's say, over-focused on the concept of AI SEO. It's just one thing out of many. You have essentially your email marketing campaign that you still need to run. You still have to run the paid campaign that you got to run. You still got things in certain markets. If you are operating, I don't know, somewhere in Eastern Europe, you got Yandex, the search engine that you need to optimize for. So I think understanding that the type of SEO that you do is actually functional SEO, that you're confident you actually done your research to know where your audience is actually may potentially find your content from, and then try to optimize for those channels rather than like, let's get 10 links just for the case of, getting these links to power up the page rank link authority of the domain. Then as a result of it, I get some clicks, and as a result of the clicks, I'll get conversions. That approach, we've actually seen it. It's going to be a gamble, especially nowadays with the algos that they do exist, that they actually they actually pay a lot of attention with regards to the authority of the site as a whole being collected, which actually makes it super, super tricky for smaller players to be able to compete. And it's well proven. The helpful content update, lots of publishers got hit. They essentially, almost all of them saw no recovery. So be open-minded, that keep the doors open for all organic marketing as a whole, not just SEO.
Brother, do you think AI is killed SEO? SEO is no more. We are not seeing SEO anymore.
Not really. No, not really. It has killed, I would say, certain types of SEO that used to be very profitable in the past, like black hat types, or
PBN type.
they still, I've heard, they still work to some extent. Back, let's say 6 or 7 years ago, you could create lots of niche sites, lots of the smaller sites, and you would pump them up with essentially links and content. And within a couple of weeks to a few months, they would already be getting traffic. Nowadays, that's not going to happen. That is not going to happen. So that SEO is sadly dead. Then we have the other type of SEO that, well, the small publishers are unfortunately sadly decreasing ranking. Then who will be essentially be competing top 10? It's going to be the larger companies. It's going to be the bigger guys. So now you will be in a different market, that you will be competing with bigger players, which means more money for the top players. But sadly, for 99% of the sites out there, the field is just much smaller to be able to compete and to be able to essentially get the leads that used to get like 5 or 6 years ago. So as a result of it, I'm going to say some parts of SEO is dead, but definitely not all of it. And even after the AI, they're still going to use the traditional signals in order to, see how they can rank the positions, engagement, and links, essentially to sort the resources after they've generated the artificial queries. So the basics and the foundations of SEO will perhaps remain the same, but if you really relied heavily, let's say, on traffic quantity, then you'd probably be impacted.
Brother, do you think many people doing SEO totally wrong? They just go for the ranking. I get the ranking and I get the traffic. But after the traffic, what to need to be done, how to optimize their CRO or properly optimize it, they are not doing there properly. You think about
yes. I do think about it, and I used to argue with people about it. But nowadays, I've came to essentially understanding that, hey, we as people, we're not perfect. And I'm sure you've been on LinkedIn or Twitter. You've seen how people argue with each other about like different SEO tactics or SEO topics, or how their SEO is actually better than the other guy. I'm not going to do that. I think it's good to do the conversion rate optimization and CRO. If you don't know it, then I would start by hiring someone who knows how to do it, or learning it yourself. Then you can essentially implement it for yourself. The SEO field, there is no, let's say, a religious book. We don't have religious textbooks. We don't have any scientific books that tells you this is how you will do your SEO. So some people do it this way, the other people do it this way. I used to be pretty much get argument with people when I was, let's say, a bit younger. Hey, I think you're doing this wrong. You should perhaps try this. And then, obviously arguments can happen. Then the conversations, they tend to be very heated on LinkedIn or Twitter. And that's stupid. It's not worth it to do that. And most people's ego is actually bigger than the entire search traffic or how much money they make, sadly. And people, they try to complicate things a lot to sound smarter. They tend to, like that's with SEOs, most of them, they like to complicate things to be able to sell certain product a little bit better. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say, do it if it works. And if you see that it's lacking in the results that you're achieving, you probably do need to rethink about something. So even to this day, I'm open-minded to this idea that I'm not perfect, but if I don't know something, I will try to learn it rather than I know everything and I'm going to do it this way forever, because that's how I can die, essentially.
In the LinkedIn, I have just get some group of people. Some people just share their client testimonials, and we are doing this, we are doing that. We have lots of clients, and after some month, they just start a sell a course. there is a course. If you enroll in this course, you'll get everything. There is a checklist, 200 or 13-page checklist. There is the all about SEO. You just click on the SEO checklist and doing this kind of thing. What do you think? This is the right way?
I don't think that's going to be the right way to essentially learn SEO, or to essentially learn how to operate a business instead of paying for a how to make money course or to get an internship in a private equity firm. I would try to learn and get the experience that actually can help you to learn it practically, not a bunch of bullshit information that they try to sell to you. And majority of the time, folks that actually sell courses, they don't really have a, let's say, operating business outside of the course. The same with make money gurus. And I'm not going to name anyone in terms of folks outside of SEO, inside of SEO have done it, but it's been fairly proven that the majority of them are problematic people that actually they don't have any empathy for others people's money, and the whole business model that they have is scamming people. Even if I came out and told you, hey, I have a course, do not buy it. Do not buy it. And that's pretty much it with regards to what I think about the courses and essentially paid courses.
Brother, when you start your journey, you buy any course? That these courses will be my next destination.
No, I've essentially taken no course in SEO.
So to the next question, with AI content everywhere now, what do you think will still AI content will still matter in SEO?
So it depends how it's being leveraged. So a lot of people do leverage AI content for blog posts. So you essentially will be able to publish some AI content. Hopefully you'll modify them a lot that they don't have the patterns behind an AI content. Once I actually get rid of those like AI patterns, like dashes versus other symbols that the AI uses, then search traffic may get impacted by more people essentially leveraging the ChatGPT in order to do informational searches than a Google search. But the use cases are limitless with regards to how you can leverage AI. It can be proofreading. It can be with regards to, in the past, you had to have Yoast in order to optimize something on the site. You can essentially write a very light plugin that you will be able to manage the SEO with a lot more automation, the internal links with a lot more automation and accuracy nowadays. So I don't think the content part will be gone, at least in the term of, let's say, we're talking product content as well, not just informational content. And it's a matter of spam algorithms. If you modify them enough, then the search algorithms will not be able to understand the pattern. Then you would be essentially dealing with the overall impact of the ecosystem and the changes in the CTR and search volumes and the AI overviews and the buzz of the AI got.
Brother, someone just write a content from AI using ChatGPT or Perplexity or anyone, and after the content, they just check the AI detection tool and got that there is no AI detection, zero AI detection, all content is written by human. This is the right way, or we need to proofreading it, remove the buzzwords, and doing something manually touches. This is the right way. Which one is the right way you think about?
I would not use any other tools that they claim they are able to detect AI content. I would do it manually. I would train yourself. I would train someone else to recognize the patterns behind AI content, and I would do it manually. It's really, I'm really skeptical of those folks that they put out tools that they claim they're able to humanize AI content. The claim has been disproven by multiple research studies, but there are some tactics to be able to spot content generated by a certain model. Let's say it's sometimes very easy to spot ChatGPT content because ChatGPT does use these phrases along with these phrases. So there are some ways that search engineers can train them, but a trained human eye is able to spot them much faster, much quicker, and much better than any paid tools that is claiming that they're able to clean up the AI issues, AI detection issues that you may have.
Brother, I'm just researching about the AI patterns, how Google detect is there AI content or anything else. Got that kind of thing that these tools not even show. I'm just make a custom GPT from that information you need to do that kind of things, as like I'm got the pattern and I'm trying to text. Okay, first is the AI detection tool and second is the custom GPT which I made from the pattern research. And after that tool, I got that thing. AI detection is when we start with the verb. AI detection tool got it, this is AI word. Or when we start with some buzzwords which are not recognized very well by the people, they just collect it and set it AI words. And other hand, this custom GPT give me some rare words, some rare sentence. These are the thing you need to change. This is the not any reference carry. You need to change it like that. In the SEO field or everywhere, I'm just thinking one thing: there is something shown up and there is something working. There is the biggest two difference. What do you think about it? If someone show these things working, and after we start on working on that AI detection tool and everything, they got result after that, after 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, there is the finish. Just think of.
The thing is, if you do modify them in a way that they don't have the patterns that are associated with common AI models, then search engines may have a rough time in order to detect them. And it is very, very, very difficult, by the way, to be able to catch AI content. There are some research papers around it, how they may be able to do it, but these are really basic stuff, basic concepts that are, but they're really hard to implement. So I would say follow your guts. Whatever works for you, go for it. And if you've seen great results with that technique, then continue it as long as it works.
Okay, brother. You are doing SEO from 2013, right, brother?
Yeah, it's been been doing it since 2013, but the gold years of SEO are probably was around 2013, 2014, before the Panda 4.0, the famous Panda algorithm, the real-time Panda, they called it. So it was essentially coming to the end of the heavy black hat stuff, the era of creating 10,000 sites in one day, essentially.
Bro, in the Panda update, you got any Panda from Google?
I don't even remember. I'm sure.
Brother, if it's 2013, a boy like you wanna start SEO or wanna to earn money from SEO, which thing he need to be modify it or which thing he need to be learned first? He should focus on the traditional SEO, semantic SEO, AE SEO, GE SEO. How do we start it? There is a toughest word, I think so. If we study in the applied chemistry, you need to be this. And nowadays, SEOs look like the same. AEO, GEO, this thing. How a person if need to start the SEO, like just a boy who want to start SEO, how he started it and how to he learn it properly, and after that time how to, if he wanna scale up or start an agency, how it started. Can you please tell us or give a summary about this thing?
Yeah, my answer is going to be a bit different than what other experts may agree to. But my suggestion path would be to learn psychology. If you haven't done your studies yet, I would try to do your bachelor's degree in clinical psychology or psychology in general, because if you're able to understand people, then marketing is all about understanding people and understanding behaviors. The reason why a conversion happens, the reason why your time on page is this amount, the reason why someone links to you, all that reason is a psychological reason. If you're able to understand people and then later on be able to leverage data to predict the behavior, then you can be a great marketer. And that's where I would actually get things started from. Either a good course on psychology that gives you the foundations you need. Then perhaps afterwards, I would start by reading some information about conversion rate optimization to get the basic information of essentially connect the basic information of the human psychology with the how essentially the path of conversion takes. What is essentially the journey that a user takes before they actually make the purchase. Then last but not least, I would try to learn the technical details. So technical details, we can say, hey, all the informations that SEOs, they tend to hyper focus on. Let's say the schemas, the internal links, the page rank, the authority scores, the nav boost, all that stuff. That's useful. But if you do want to have a successful future, you got to also be able to know a bit of marketing as a whole, not just SEO. You have a site, well, you have search traffic, but it doesn't convert. And imagine a world that SEO doesn't exist. Just there is other channels. How would you kick things started? Because if SEO is the missing part of the puzzle, then there's some imperfection going on. I do believe it needs to be taken care of in some way. So let's start with the basics of some psychology stuff, some conversion rate stuff. Some then afterwards you can learn some. You can do some courses in HTML and CSS. And start just understanding how web works, but don't overcomplicate it. You don't need to have a machine learning degree or PhD in computer science to be able to do that. No, a lot of, from my understanding, is a lot of people in SEO have most of the time have not even done a bachelor degree. So don't have that expectation from yourself, but try to level up the information that you have. And lastly, I would try to learn some technical stuff.
Brother, after all of question, our all audience is from Bangladesh, and you have a lots of fan base in Bangladesh. You wanna say something to your Bangladeshi fan base?
Well, hello, folks. How do you say "nice to meet you all" in your language?
In our language. আপনাদের সবার সাথে দেখা করে আমার ভালো লাগলো। আপনাদের সবার সাথে আমার দেখা করে ভালো লাগলো।
This is so hard. This actually makes a great video. I'm happy you've done it. Okay. Thank you so much. Take care of yourself.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.